Zaid, and today I'm going to show you how to use Sitelink extensions inside of Google Ads. I think these are among the most important extensions, and you may already be aware, but using extensions in Google Ads helps increase your quality score, which is one of the primary indicators of how you rank, how much you pay, how competitive you can be, etc. So let's dive into it. If you to go to extensions, make sure you're in a search campaign, then go to Ads and Extensions and click on Extensions. And we're going to click this little blue bubble here, and you're going to choose the extension type. Now, we'll have a video on every single one of these. I think we've done a handful so far. Most recently, I think lead form extensions. But let's click on Sitelink first. Sitelink extensions, these are the extensions you typically think about when you're thinking about Google Ads extensions. So I'll give you an example. Let's search for CRM software. Here's Freshworks, and here are the Sitelink extensions that show up. Pricing starts at $0, and then mobile app. And if you click on these, they're going to go to, ideally, they're going to go to separate pages. And so what's cool about this is it gives you the ability to offer multiple narratives. It's kind of a choose your own adventure scenario. So one, you're swallowing up way more real estate than some of the other ads. This is especially true on mobile. And you'll see as many as 4 extensions show up here. So you can see that if I had a whole nother row of Sitelink extensions, there's just a lot that you can offer people. So it's interesting because it gives you the ability to offer multiple value propositions. Think about this as additional at-bats. So, an error could be replicating your offer, kind of like Freshworks in here. So pricing starts from $0, pricing starts at $0. Well, we heard that, so it might have helped them to, put forth a different offer. And, I guess maybe their challenge to that would be that there is some value in redundancy. It just depends on how well something like this is performing. You can see that they're hitting this narrative hard 3 times. So here's $0, here's $0, here's $0. But I wouldn't mind seeing a little bit of diversity. You're not going to be able to dictate the Sitelink extensions that show up. And as a matter of fact, if this is a responsive ad, they might not necessarily even be dictating the title that's showing up. So this could just be an amalgamation, not necessarily something that they've built intentionally this way. But now that you see how the Sitelink extensions look, let's go see how they're built. The first decision you'll have to make is where they're added. Is this being added on an account level, campaign level, or ad group level? If you added it on an account level, that means that it's accessible to Google Ads to use for any campaign. Now, Google's going to default to the extensions that are added on an ad group level and then cascade up. So it will use the ones on an ad group level, and then if for whatever reason it's not those aren't accessible or applicable, then it will reach up to the campaign and then reach up to the account. So you can have multiple Sitelink extensions applied, some on the account, some on the ad group, but realize that you're giving preferential treatment to the smallest level. If you add extensions on an account level, and this is true for all extensions, you're going to want to make sure that they're broadly applicable. You might be adding extensions that are only applicable on an ad group level because they only pertain to a very specific service. And so if you accidentally select this account setting and you're adding ad group type extensions, then you might trigger extensions and ads that just aren't applicable. So make sure you know where they belong. I hope that made sense. You can use existing extensions or create new. We're going to create new just because for the sake of the tutorial. I like to turn this highlight off. I know that's a nit, but I actually like to see the way it's going to look in real life. And the highlight, I feel like, throws the visual off just a little bit. So let's just go steal Freshworks, their extensions, and see how well they did. Here's the text and the 2 descriptions, and I'll critique these a little bit. So I actually sometimes like starting my creative process outside of the builder, because if you're dealing initially with character limitations, it puts you in such a box that you start backing into this character limit. What I'd rather do is decide what it is I want to say and then bring it into the ad builder and then tweak the character limitations accordingly. I'd recommend spending some time to try to capture as much of this as you possibly can, because even a few characters makes a pretty significant difference in how much space you're swallowing up. So they've actually done a pretty good job here, I think. I mentioned the title being a little bit redundant to the title they use in their ad. That's okay. It's not, a catastrophic error. I like giving people multiple options because, you now have multiple CTAs for one particular view. So, if this, for whatever reason, didn't capture their interest, now they have an A and a B. And then the final URL, I'll just use my, use my agency for now, so I'm not clicking on Freshworks page. And you'll want this to go to an internal page, is my opinion. Provide an additional landing page that's applicable to whatever it is that you're offering. So, I mean, you can make it redundant to the main one if you want to, but it's not recommended. I'd rather see this give you the opportunity to sort of cascade traffic out and see, where they're landing, and then making sure that the page that you're sending to them is applicable to the offer that you're giving them in a Sitelink extension. One really important note is make sure you're using HTTPS, because if I don't, I get this little error from Google saying, hey, you should probably be using HTTPS. They won't force it, but you'll also notice that you don't get anywhere near the impression share. So you're just not going to show up as often. Create as many Sitelink extensions as you can stand. I think 20 is the limit. Let's go find out and see if I'm a liar. Yep. You don't have to create 20, but have at least 4, because you can have 4 show up on one page. And Google's going to decide which Sitelink extensions are applicable to that customer. So you don't get to choose, I want this one to show up and this one to show up, etc. So the more Sitelink extensions you're offering, the higher the likelihood that they're going to be used, and the more ammunition you're giving Google. And again, apply some diversity just in terms of the offers. Some really good examples. I actually like About Us as a Sitelink extension. I wouldn't use About Us in the text. This is an error too. You'll see that a lot of people do this, where they're just treating it like it's a menu item on a website menu. Even if you're using About Us as the extension, you could say something like, learn our epic story. I bet you if I use an exclamation mark, that would get disapproved, so I'm not going to. But learn our epic story is the same thing as About Us, but it's just a little bit more compelling. And if you don't want to be, if you're not jokey that way, you'll find different ways to do this. But don't phone this in, because, again, you can just sort of see the way that your eye's going to go to this blue text first. And, even mobile app here, I'm just not a huge fan of the way that they've placed that down. I mean, gosh, if it was like easy to use mobile app or something, let's see if that fits. I'm going to go easy to use mobile app. That's just so much more compelling than mobile app. And then speak to value. Remember, features tell, benefits sell. So I actually like this. Close deals on the go. That's a great benefit. And then with the Fresh Sales mobile application, all right, kind of phone that one in a little bit. This isn't bad either. I'm speaking to the free version here. But with Learn Our Epic Story, I could say, I like to say out of our agency, small enough to care, but all right. Clearly, I'm not a copywriter. I'm not going to mess with that. Notice that I'm using title case, so the first letter in every word is capitalized, which helps click-through rate significantly. And we've seen a lot of proof of that. This might be epic story, and so on and so forth. So remember to be as descriptive as you can in your Sitelink text. This is what people are going to see. Call them back to the value that they're going to receive. So if you have an easy-to-use mobile app, make sure you're referencing what that means for them. Who cares about the features quite as much? What's the end result? How does it impact their every day? How does it impact their bottom line? What are the things that they're going to experience on a regular basis that you're helping to influence? Those are the things. It's marketing 101, really. This is ad copy just like any other ad copy. Don't treat it like it's a menu option. You have your 20 options here if you build them out. The Sitelink URL options, this is more advanced for tracking. If you have a tracking template that you're using, you can install it here. This is more static for just a final URL suffix. So if there's information that you need to send along to the URL, this can be helpful if you're if your CRM is capturing usage information. So this is where this goes. And I would imagine that if you're using something like this, you probably already know how it's used. And then you can build custom parameters here too if you want to. You can use a different URL for mobile, and there are a ton of use cases for that. The mobile app is actually a really good example. So if somebody's on a mobile device, you could probably send them directly to download the app, where if they're on a desktop device, you might want to send them to your page that explains the mobile app, that type of thing. Advanced options, device preference. This is interesting. If you select mobile, it doesn't mean that it's only going to be shown on mobile. It means that Google's going to give mobile visibility preferential treatment. And then you can decide start and end date if this is promotional, which tends not, we don't use that often. But you can also decide the days and hours that your Sitelink extensions are shown. So this is really helpful for, for instance, direct calls to action to call or to contact. If you only want people to be able to see those during business hours, you could set that here. We've got a friend who creates 2 different campaigns specifically for this purpose. And he has the campaigns that are running during business hours with custom extensions, and the campaigns that are running 24/7 with custom extensions that are applicable to that schedule. And you can have multivariant schedules here, which is kind of cool. And when you're done, click Save, and then you have done it. You've added your Sitelink extensions, and you'll see a significant impact in the efficacy of your campaign when you start using extensions. And the more broadly you can use them, the better. And there's a ton of other opportunities here. I'll go over some of these in subsequent videos. I just wanted to touch on Sitelink extensions today because that's one of the most important ones. But we'll be diving deeper soon. If you have any questions, hit me in the comments. Any ideas, any ways to use extensions I haven't thought of, I'd love to know. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Thanks.